Hello and welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, my name is Anwa. I post a new art video every day at 11 a.m. EST. I do art and music production, but mostly on this channel we just do art for the sake of consistency with that. And usually if there's ever any music playing, anything like that, obviously I made it. It's not really much importance to this though, so I don't know why I'm talking about that so much, but we are working on a character that I drew many years ago named Negative Tuo. It's a part of a group of other characters that I've drawn in the past, but what I want to do is work on developing these characters to be something that I can draw at will whenever I want, because I do like the design of the character. I do think that it's a cool character, and I want to be able to draw the character, use it to tell stories, maybe just do like, illustrations, maybe animations and things of that nature. And gives me a chance to sit down and go through that process of pushing myself through the swamp of ideas to come out on the other side with some significant gains, hopefully, to my artist tool belt, and I can wield them in a way that is enjoyable for myself and at some point others to uh, endure. But it's it is a very interesting thing because I don't think that it's not easy to draw certain characters for me, especially characters that I made, because sometimes you draw a character, right, like wearing clothes, like maybe is a jacket. Like for instance, I have another character called Rain, and they wear like a yellow like raincoat, and that yellow raincoat is not like terrible or nothing like that. But I don't know what their body looks like under that raincoat. And whenever I try to draw like the simple, like primitive shapes on top of it, it never looks right. It always looks like inconsistent. But if you just see them wearing that raincoat, they look normal. Like it looks correct, right? But when I try to break them down, they don't look correct. And that is another problem that I have with this character, because essentially this character would be in the world of Rain because they have a garment that is large and billowy. So in that world, that's something that is indicative of certain characters, right? Certain characters will have um, either like large hoodies or large coats or large jackets or vests, or I don't know, like something. They'll be wearing maybe a like they won't wear a shirt, they'll wear like a giant bucket hat. Like there's just certain things that are indicative of some of those characters, and this character and in that universe, this character would be indicative of being in that universe. But the issue is being able to break the character down into a way that I could keep drawing over and over again easily, so that I can tell stories with them, because that's the main point. Like one of the things that really starts to get annoying is, yeah, you could draw like this one-off character and that's fun, it's great. You never know what could come from that. One day you might turn that into something else, much like how like the capsules turned into what they are now, but they didn't start out as capsules. They started out as something much different. In fact, the first capsules, and this is not related so much, but the first capsule's name was Ambulance, and it was like an ambulance, but it was like a Lancer ambulance. So it's just really silly. And I do have a book with a lot of the ideas and drawings. I wondered that I actually come up with the name prior to that, but I don't know. Maybe I did come up with the name. Maybe the name and the idea is much older than I thought, and is not as new as I thought. But the same thing applies here, right? The same thing applies. The idea is that the context of what is being made is only important as it leads to other things, right? Because maybe I make all these characters and I realize, wow, I don't like the way that these characters are going, or I like this from this character, and I take it and then I use that to make another character, and then that character has the elements of this character, but it also has its own elements and it's easier to draw and is fun to draw and it's fun to tell stories for. So these things are really important in that way. You have to work at making things so that you can overcome this, like, a little bit of a fog, I would call it, where you get bogged down in the place of like, well, I can't do anything with this, or I don't know what to do with this. It's like everything comes back and everything can be reused in the future. So I think that that's pretty important. And over here, as we are like witnessing me draw negative two or whatever, I am really in the weeds here because, as you can see, the I just drew the character like straight up, like I drew with the hoodie and everything, and that's just what they look like, right? That's what they look like in the reference as well. But it's very deceptive because if I want to like move this character, I don't know where the body is inside of that hoodie. I don't know where those legs go. For all I know, there is no body in that hoodie. The hoodie is their corporeal form, and the legs could be detached. Like, I don't know. And that's the sincerity of the situation. It's like you just don't know what is going on with the body in that regard, and it makes it very hard to keep up with like what to do with it. And it also makes it hard to pose as well. So you can't like give them the business because there's nowhere, like, you don't know where the body is. But maybe like I could in theory figure it out by flushing them out from their waist up. That would be a much more significant metric to pull them together, and a point of uh, character design that is more creative and more logical in that regard, so that they're not so disjointed from the act of being of creation and then utilization, because that's generally what happens a lot of times. Like, I feel like as an artist, like, sometimes you just draw stuff and you don't really know what that thing might be later, but you just draw like something, right? And it's like, oh, this looks cool, and then you kind of just like move on. And then some people are like, oh, this looks cool, and then they draw it again, and I'm like, oh, okay, that looks cool too, and then they draw it again, and then like that looks cool, and then they draw it again. But like me, one of the things that I have is like the endless well of like OCs, right? Like, you just have like an OC for every day of the week, and you never go back to them. You don't touch them again. Some of them you want to do stuff for, but the curse of seeing media, like, let's say you see like a Naruto or something, and you make a character, your brain is now thinking like, well, my story has to be as big as Naruto's story. No, that is bad. That is a big trap, and is a trap that I am stuck in right now with Blue Ant. Blue Ant is on. Blue Ant didn't even get really started yet, and it's on already on hiatus due to scope creep just being so unconventionally massive. Like, the scope creep on Blue Ant is insane because it started out as like this, like, cute little idea where you have this blue guy and then you have a bunch of other color guys, and they'll all join up and be fighting against this and that and having wacky adventures, to, oh, there's this overarching story that's massive, and yeah, it all ties into like this other giant story that I need to focus on and be present for. And it's like, while that is cool, while that is great, while it's good to have ideas, I think the magnitude of that idea makes it so that, like, well, there's so much to do now, I don't know if I could do any of it. And then then you just end up like Blue Ant, on hiatus with no real future anymore. I mean, again, I did write a outline for like what the first part of the story should be, but the significance of all of that is greatly overshadowed by the concept that it has to be this massive overarching story that I can't possibly deliver on. But I can, if I take a step back for a moment, look at it, and piece by piece put each piece together, I could do it, right? And the real issue here is just the consistency to sit down and to make that a thing, because I do have the ability to do such a thing. I do have the thought process to sit down and put things together in that way, but sometimes I don't. And on those sometimes, those are the days I'm going to need it the most. So is very difficult. And particularly this one sketch of -2, I do not like the one with the hair going up. Like the hair's going up because there's like a like they're using a psychic blast or something, and I don't like the way that looks. It kind of makes him look like kind of like a dog or like Terriermon or something. And I like Terriermon. I think Terriermon is pretty cute, but I think in this situation this doesn't look right. And then also like the drawing itself just is kind of flat, and the foreshortening is kind of like not very good as well. It's kind of flat. Like flat is what I will say it looks like. It looks flat, and it kind of bothers me how flat it looks. But I guess that's good because it's good to notice what you've done wrong. It's good to like witness your own mistakes so that you can correct them and work on them and make them better. And one of the main problems that we have is that we don't have so much awareness of sometimes our own mistakes. We just kind of do stuff and then be like, well, that didn't work, so do it again. And it's like, that didn't work. It's not do it again. That didn't work. Look at why it didn't work and then try again. But I am at fault for not doing that all the time, where I like will do something, it's like messed up, and I'll just kind of let it go. But I noticed that like when I do certain recordings of myself, or like if I'm streaming art, and I talk about like what I did wrong and then try to do it again, I am more likely to correct it at that moment, which is very interesting because I need like streaming forces you to talk and to actualize or to verbalize what you're doing while you're doing it. So that way it's like you are speaking to yourself. Like you're speaking your problems out loud, and then you're solving your problems out loud. Versus like when you're just drawing by yourself silently, you're not really doing that. At least I'm not, because my mental voice is just kind of really quiet, and that is not helpful, because you need to have something there to let you know, like, oh, this is what you've done wrong and this is how you can fix it, or this is not the way that you want it to be. Why not try it this way? And that will improve the things that you have going on. But a lot of this is not particularly the best. Obviously, the one drawing of the character facing towards the left in the 3/4 view is pretty good, and the closer like portrait shot is also not desirable. The character's head is a little too long, and the lip is a little too long and not full, and the chin should be closer, and there should be no indent for the eye. It should be a straight line straight down. And yeah, I think that the initial first drawing has a strong serious tone to it. And if you enjoy this video, you enjoy me rambling, don't forget to hit that like, don't forget to comment, and don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate all of those things. This is how you can support the channel, support me doing art consistently every day. Every day at 11 a.m. EST, a new art video should be up. And I will see you again soon. And thank you. Goodbye.